So I was talking with somebody and we were talking about a couple different things, and we talked about my grandparents' video and some other things. And I figured I'm going to show a few things right now. This is not an official story time video, but I'm going to talk about a few things that we used to do in the past. I used to make videos for people all over the country, and they would send us all their photos and videos. And I used to have a special machine where I could put film in there, and it would do one frame at a time and put it in the computer. You know, it would scan every frame of the film. And we did stuff for people all over the country. So I was going to show some of the things we've done, how we evolved into where it got like really big and nice. It got nice though. And then I just kind of stopped because it's a lot of work. And at one point I wanted to do it as a business, but once you do it as your own business, now it becomes work and not a fun hobby anymore. So back in the day, we used to do stuff like this. We'd do a video of this person's life right here, and then we would make this like collage of pictures, and we'd make this nice collage. And then what we would do is, after we were done in Photoshop, we would upload these to Walmart or CVS or Walgreens, where you get your photos printed. This is an actual like printed photo on photo paper that they would use. They used to have those little machines you could stick your card in there and print out your photos from your digital camera. That's what this is. And this is what we used to do, just get these little jewel cases. We used to buy these in bulk by the case. And then we would have these DVRs, and we would actually just write on them in marker. So then we got a printer, and we ended up getting a printer. Now this one, I'm going to show some stuff from this one, this Katie girl. This is her brother right here. We used to know their parents. They're very nice people. And this is the same thing. It's a printed photo. But this one, I'm going to show some clips from this because I used to do a ton of effects. And in that particular video, when they were blowing out candles on a cake, I would actually make the candles flicker. And there's a shot of them in a pool. I made the water ripple. I used to do a lot of cool things. It takes a long time, but it comes out really nice. But then what we started to do is we ended up getting a printer, and this is actually printed directly on top of the DVD. We used to have a printer where this would slide inside the printer, and you have to use an inkjet on here. And this, you pretend like this is paper, and it would actually print directly on the disc. It's really nice because it's professional. Back in the day before that, you know, people would use a label, and they'd have that label press thing. Well, when you put a label on there, it creates a little bit of a wobble, and it affects the picture. You might not notice it, but I do. This is Richie's 40th birthday. We did the same thing for him. This one's interesting. I grew up with Richie, and he married this lovely young lady right here. And we did the same thing with him. This is a printed photo, and it's a collage. And I used one of those types of discs. And what this is his life. Most of these videos, these are like, you know, this girl's life from born up till the point we made this. Same with that guy. This was the same way. This is Richie's life up to his 40th birthday. Now, these people also had a surprise birthday for him for his 40th birthday. We were already living here in North Carolina, and their family flew me out there to video and attend the party, the surprise party. So when I came home, I added that as an extra on this DVD. There's a montage on here, and then there's a menu on here with extras, and it shows the party, which was really nice. And I'll get back to that in a second, because what we started to do, I'm going to talk about the marching band for a second, because that's what actually started this whole conversation online. This was the first year the kids were in marching band, and this doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on it. I wasn't planning on doing anything. We just happened to attend, you know, at the football field at night, you know, in the competitions, and I started videoing. And this is now moved up to that same printer, and I was printing these on there, and I was cutting these by hand with a mat and a roller cutter, an Alpha, and we would buy these DVD covers in bulk. And then what we started to do was sell these at school, but we weren't selling them. We used them as a fundraiser for the band, and it's not just marching band. It was like all the bands. And this is printed. This is their logo, and this is printed directly on the disc, just like the other ones. And we kind of standardized this on all the DVDs. They all look this way. But as the years went by, not only did the montages I started doing montages every year, I started getting really complicated and buying more equipment and more equipment and more equipment. We'd go to these competitions. I would have like 5 and 6 cameras running somewhere on the field, and you're not allowed to. The judges, you know, I made them so where the judges wouldn't see them. We have some killer footage of the kids, you know, in this marching band. We have all their competitions. Once we got to here, now it's got all their competitions and some of the other schools on there. And this is actually a picture of their shirt, their show shirt. This is the back side of their show shirt. I took a photo of it with a camera, and then I just kind of cleaned it up in Photoshop. And that's the front. That was their show that year, this Hope, Love, Joy thing. And then we standardized this, so we just changed the year every year on this. But we were buying these cases in bulk in these cases, and it was cool. And then this year we made more money for the band by doing a fundraiser. Then we got to this year. This is 2013. This is going in order, and we were able to print these. I think we did these at home too. I'm not sure. That's the whole band. And then we're making these cool covers now. And then also the menus on these are getting more complicated. It wasn't just all their shows. Now, these are all the chapter points. This is their show. This is the montage. There's a montage on every one of these showing highlights throughout the year. This is all their competitions. This is all the football game halftime performances. These are all the extras with outtakes. See where it says GoPro? What I used to do was take one GoPro and pick a person and go to all the practices and stick it on different people, and then at the end of the year sync up all those hundreds of pieces with a final show where they did a full run, and then I would sync up all them GoPro pieces. Even the professionals online were like, how'd you do that? And I said, it's a lot of work. But here's like the parent preview, their MPA, parades, all this stuff. And then I have other schools on here. One time I posted this online. I was like, hey guys, these are ready. And the other schools saw it and they were like, you can't be videoing us. I'm like, whatever, dude, come sue me. I don't care. There's video companies videoing these people, and it's against the law for them to do it, but you're getting mad at me. So then it's got like some thanks on the back. We're starting to get fancy, you know. And then the following year we got even fancier. Took this and I put everybody's name on there and what sections they were in. I thought that was pretty cool. And then has a little asterisk by their name, and that's for the section captains. And then this one, because that year the people got angry, there's a hidden menu on this one. And this tells you how to get to that hidden menu on this DVD. And it has Panther Creek and West Carteret and some other ones because they got angry at me. I'm like, whatever, come sue me. What are you going to do about it? You have these professional companies going there videoing you, and it's completely illegal for them to do it, and you're getting mad at me, just a dad in the stands. Also, we'd be at these competitions, and these people would have like, you know, 2 cameras, and they'd have the XY mics up on the top of the building. I had mine up on a 20-foot pole. I had all kinds of stuff I would bring. I'd have to get there first in the gate. I would take yellow tape and mark off a whole huge area at the top of the stands. I had 3 or 4 cameras with me in the stands on tripods, and then cameras out there. I was going crazy with this stuff, especially this final year. And then they would be announcing, you know, this professional company is using 2 HD cameras, you know, come get your DVD. And everybody would look at me and go, Mr. Brooks, why are they only using 2 cameras? I said, because they're amateurs, and it's also illegal for them to do that. So this one got even more complicated. This montage on here is really good. It's actually very sentimental to us because this is the kids' final year. and I made it a little bit longer. It's got interviews on there with all the section captains, and it's really good. And then it has all the same stuff, all their competitions and football games on there. Also with this one, we were using these as a fundraiser. We would take a very small portion to pay for these because we kept buying, we had to buy these, and it wasn't cheap at the time, you know, to buy like, you know, 100 or 200 of these cases, and then 100 or 200 of these, all the ink, because this has to be inkjet, all the ink that printed all these, you know, all we did was get our money back for the materials. I didn't get my money back for the time that it took to print all these at home, and I was cutting all these by hand. This is a lot of work. But this final year right here, not only did they order the most DVDs ever this particular year, we stood in front of the auditorium. We stood in the front of the auditorium every year anyway, because my wife was in charge of like the fundraising. She always helped out. We always volunteered with stuff, and we would always stand in front of the auditorium every year at the end of the year, because you would have like the concert band and whatever's up there, the different bands on an auditorium on the stage, and that's the final thing. And so at the end of the year, we'd stand there. My wife would be like, "Hey guys, you know, this is your stuff. If you ordered this is the fundraising things. This is the end of the year stuff." And then I would stand next to her and go, "Hey guys, if anybody ordered a DVD, they're in the back. We have all your names. If you ordered one, come get one. We have extras if you'd like one. If you'd like to order one, we have some extras if you weren't aware of that. And the money goes to the school. We take a very small percentage that goes to us just to cover these materials," which was true. This final year, I stood in front of the auditorium, as we usually do, and I said, I had some notes in my hand because I told a little story about how, you know, the way I used to be like a jock type person, and I would rip on these kids when I was growing up and call them, you know, geeks and nerds and band geeks. And I told the parents, I said, look, you know, trying to convict these people, I was like, look, and this was hard for me to say because, you know, I even told them, you know, I used to be a drug addict and I've had like this crazy life, and we spent more time with your kids than you have. You're missing a huge part of their life if you're not volunteering. And it's always like a handful of the exact same parents every year, like a handful that are helping out, and it's a lot of work. Marching band is a lot of work for everybody, the band, the parents, everybody involved. It's huge. I never knew about this stuff. So I told them, you're missing out on these people's life, your kids' lives. And I said, even though I used to call these people band geeks, I said, you guys don't understand. You probably don't know your kids very well. These are some excellent musicians in here. A lot of them were. Yeah, some weren't, but they were all dedicated, you know, and some people were like phenomenal. And I was like, you guys need to volunteer because you're really missing out on your kids' lives. I'm so glad we got to volunteer. But then we also told them 100% of the proceeds this year is going straight to the band. Now, my wife didn't know I was going to say that. I just said that. I had it written down. She looked at me like, what? Like, we're not going to, you know, we spent a fortune on this stuff to get these materials. I didn't care, though. You know, I want to help the band. And I think they made a good $2,000 or something that year, which was great. I'm so happy for them. I'm adding this in later about the band. When we were standing in front of the auditorium, we told them this is our final year. We're not going to be here anymore. We were there so much. I was at every practice, every single thing. Wherever the band was, we were. I videoed everything all the time. It was crazy how many hours we put in. So when we were standing in front of the auditorium, you know, telling them their DVDs are ready, this is our final year, and I was telling them like this little story about our lives and everything. When we were done, when I said 100% of the proceeds is going right back to the school and everything, and we're done, and we're really going to miss all these kids and stuff, the whole auditorium stood up and were cheering. I mean, I'm almost getting teary-eyed now. It blew me away. I was standing there crying. I didn't know what to do. I've never experienced that. I'm usually, you know, entertaining people on a stage. I'm used to having them having fun and clapping. You know, you're entertaining. This is different. This was like, you know, here I am, you know, opening up to people and they all just stood up and cheered because I think, you know, we put in so many hours for these people and that blew us away. It was so nice. And as much as we really miss being with all the kids. It was so fun being with all of them and, you know, doing stuff, but it's so much work. You're kind of relieved when you're done as well. You know, I'm glad we got to do it, but you know, sometimes we'll say, well, we miss it. And it's like, well, no, because October's coming. We used to say that every year. October's coming. October's coming. October is just crazy month for marching band. So I just wanted to throw that in there. So then we started doing stuff like this. This is my aunt and uncle's 8mm films that we put on DVD. And then I started doing this. This is an extra disc in here for me. It's got files so I could reproduce, you know, this cover and stuff, which I probably don't need that stuff now. These are all my own personal copies of things. This is my grandparents. We were talking about this online. This is my grandparents right here. And I'll get back to that in a second. Because I also did Eldon. This is Eldon. I have this on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description. You know, these are pictures. I cut him out of here. These are also him. I cut them out and put them in these frames in Photoshop. And that's a really nice, sorry for the glare. That's a really nice picture. So then on the back, there's a picture of an airplane because it has to do with his story that he was telling, which was really nice. And I did not video this. And this is nice. It's just him on there. And this is printed directly onto this disc. And I don't know what disc 2 is. I'm going to have to look. I don't remember what I did. This is years ago. But Eldon, so these people, I told them just whatever you do. They wanted me to put this together. I said, whatever you do, use a microphone. That's the main thing for these. Use a microphone. Don't sit there with a camera. And they did. They plugged it. They got a microphone. They plugged it into their camera. And he held it in his hand and told his life story. And I put it together. And it's actually really nice. My grandparents is too. We'll get back to that in a second because I wanted to get back to this one, Richie's. So Richie married this girl, this lovely young lady right here. And this is her dad. This is her dad. I know their family. And, you know, I think I've done other ones for them, but, you know, Cindy wanted me to do all this for Richie, and then she wanted me to do her dad. And I thought that was really nice of them. Her family is the one that flew me out there for Richie's party. And they paid for it with their own money, and they put me in first class. And I felt so bad. They're not rich people. They're not poor either. But like, first class ain't cheap. And they didn't need to do that, you know. And it was so nice of them to do that. And I've never been in first class before or after that. It was really nice. It was a nice cozy chair. They give you like real food, real dishes and silverware. It was actually really nice. I was very out of place because I'm a rough, you know, blue collar worker type of person. But these are really nice. I'll put the link to his story underneath this video because it's really good. So we'll get back to my grandparents for a second because I want to show this cover. So I'll put my grandparents' video link in the description. It's also online. What I did with them, you're going to see a mistake on here. That's my grandparents when they were young. That's the actual video. But then this is all their 8mm. See, I had a mistake from the inkjet, but I didn't care. It's mine. This is like my copy, so it doesn't matter. This is all their 8mm films that I put into the computer with that special machine. And then everybody in the family got one of these after we finished this video. And then on the back side, what I did was made like a family tree looking thing. So it has like my grandparents told like, well, who are their grandparents and parents and stuff? How did we get to America and all that stuff? Then it comes down to us down here and my cousins, which I thought was really nice because not too long after that, they passed away. And I'm glad we were able to do this, you know, and it's a good family heirloom right there. And it's a really nice video. It has, when they're telling stories, I put pictures and stuff to the stories they're telling. I did the same thing with Eldon. It's really nice. But I wanted to show this because we did a family tree, and I thought it was really cool. It really helped out on Ancestry with a lot of things. Just doing this with the phone real quick because I forgot to mention for this video, I'm doing this later while I'm editing it. DVDs are a past thing. They're no longer, they're hard to find. No one uses them anymore. I'm sure there's places that might, but not around here. We don't either. I don't have any DVD players in the house. None of the laptops come with them anymore. The best part about making DVDs is designing the covers. That's all done from scratch with Photoshop. And then the other fun thing is making the menus. The menus are all custom made from scratch, from a blank screen. We did all of them in Adobe Encore, and they're fully custom. Some of the menus have hidden menus in them. We did a magic trick one with the kids. We have all the solutions in a hidden menu that's like, you have to hit the buttons in a certain order to get to it. You know, that's fun to do. All that stuff, that's the best part about making a DVD is all that custom stuff and how fun it is. It's a lot of work, but it's so cool that you can have so much control over all that stuff. But I thought I'd show a few of those things because we were talking about it online, and this is what I used to do for people all over the country. I used to make videos for people everywhere. And it was a lot of fun, you know, and I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot from Eldon's video and my grandparents because Eldon talked about the Dust Bowl and how, you know, the dust blew all the way from Colorado all the way over New York into the Atlantic Ocean. It did. I looked that up. And, you know, he talked about how it didn't rain and stuff for years. I'm like, wow, that's crazy, you know, and I learned all this stuff. My grandparents too. My grandparents talked about an airplane crash over Brooklyn. I looked that up. I actually put that in their video. And the Great Blackout of like 1964 or 67, whatever it was. And I was like, wow, I learned a lot of stuff by listening to this. So when you see old people, you're looking at them now as old people, maybe old stinky people, I don't know. They were young once, and they have a story to tell. Get their story somehow. And if you can, do what I'm doing. I don't mind doing it for you. That's not what I do anymore, though. I have enough stuff going on. But get their story. They have stories to tell, especially your family members, you know. These people have lived a whole life. They were young once. These old people did the same exact things you did when you were young, or if you're young now. They ran around. They were looking at boys. They were looking at girls. They were having babies, you know, working, you know, being a blue-collar worker in the workforce, driving cars. I mean, you know, they were the same as you and me. You know, you're just looking at them now like, it's just an old person. They have some stories to tell, and they love to tell them. And I love to put them on video because it's really, some of the stuff they talk about is really interesting, and I learn a lot. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little longer than I planned on being. It always is. Thanks for watching to the 2 or 3 people that might actually see this.